All right, folks, welcome to the third round of the Boylston Chess Foundation Chess Club Tuesday Night Swiss December version. 5-round tournament this month. And I drew my first game against Glenn Ruggiero. I think I got kind of lucky in that one, to be completely honest. I then bounced back with a pretty nice win over Matthew Wesley. And tonight I played Justin Guerra, who I have now played. I believe this is my fourth classical game against him. So, on one hand, it's nice to play people more than once. On the other hand, it's also nice to play people you haven't played before. I think Justin, let me look up. I think this is accurate with Justin's rating. Let me find out. No, it doesn't tell us. And for whatever reason, USCF is down. It says player not found. So I'm just going to go with 1524. The point is, I think every time I play Justin, he ping-pongs kind of a lot, but he's anywhere as low as 1400 and as high as various 1600. So he's definitely within that range. I think I've got a good grasp on his style. I mean, we've chatted. I know he watched the videos, so hi, Justin. Thanks for the game, of course. Yeah, there's not really much I can hide because he watched the videos. I don't really make an attempt to hide my prep or anything like that. And I think I've spoken very candidly about his aptitude, which is to say, I think he's a pretty good player, obviously. I think that card games are pretty competitive. Tonight, this was a competitive game. And I know that, or at least I expected him to kind of play like random bullshit, mostly because I figured he'd have a grasp on my openings, and he'd get me out of book right away. If any of you who are regular watchers, all of like 15 of you, remember the last time we played, he was white and he went 1e3. I got a good position. It didn't actually shake me. But, yeah, Justin definitely plays some odd things. However, as black, I think he's been pretty typical, like a Nimzo Indian player. And he knew I was going to go in the Trumpowski, kind of get people out of the Nimzo. And this was no surprise. What's funny is he actually, I mean, you'll see, I'm going to start the moves in a moment. But he played the exact same setup as week one Glenn, where I did not play the opening well at all. But, you know, it's not like I've been spending a ton of time on chess, but I am spending some time. And it seemed like it paid off because in the opening against Glenn, I got a terrible opening. Against Justin, who did pretty much a very similar move ordering, I think I got a pretty decent position. Now, the truth is, now a little spoiler alert, I'm going to do this without the computer on at first. That's what I've been doing the last few weeks. When we analyzed it, we got to like move, not quite 20, like move 18 or so. And we realized that, Justin said, I think it's equal. And I said, no, I think I'm better. And he did check on the computer. And I think Justin was right. I think the position was like plus 0.1 or something. So I do know in the mid-game, the game was completely open. But I'm going to let you all decide. And I'm going to, have you all, weigh in on sort of practical chances and all that. So that's the sneak peek that's coming up. On the tee, I didn't want to analyze anything that beyond that point because I kind of want to not let the engine scold my thinking or my calculations. But I will say, Justin, to let you know, I inputted the moves, and yes, my phone backed up what your phone said. But through 20 moves, we played at a 98+% accuracy. So, Justin, if it makes you feel any better, both of us played like grandmasters at least for a while, which is pretty amazing, actually. So I think this is a really well-played game by both of us, even if it was, in Justin's words, a little bit boring. But even boring games have interesting moments, so hopefully I can take you through all of them. Also, I realized at the end, when we analyzed, both Ben and Jamie were there for the analysis, and they hadn't, Justin was like, oh yeah, Rob makes YouTube videos. So I think they're going to start watching the videos, who knows. And if you guys watch this one, hello, my friends. Ben, I haven't gotten to play you in chess yet, but I'm sure I will soon. Jamie, we've gone a few rounds. I'm sure we'll play again. All right. Let's, without further ado, get on into it. The other two things worth mentioning. Number one, a few days ago, I adopted 2 new kittens. They're bonded. If you guys hear a little meowing in the background, it's because Simon, that's what I've named the boy cat, is a menace to society. I tried to tire him out. I played with him when I got home. And oh boy, he is going fucking wild. So keep that in mind. All this, if a lot of you can remember, about a month and a half ago, a little bit more, I lost my older cat, who I had since she was a kitten. She was 16. And the truth is, they're not a replacement for her. I really am enjoying them. They're great, but it actually makes me miss my bell cat all that much more. So, and the other thing as well is today I actually got my boosters, my flu shot. I know it's a bit late. We're in mid-December, but I finally got around to getting them. So certainly my mental state for this game, I'm actually surprised I played as well as I did. Was definitely a little bit tired and fatigued. And for the record, I'm a little tired and fatigued making this video, but the sacrifices I make for all of you. With that in mind, we go on. So I decided I'm going to play the Trumpowski attack. It's what I've been enjoying. It hasn't really worked that well for me online. I've lost rating on Bullet, but I think it's making me a better player. And Justin bombs out G6. For the record, the moves I know are basically D5, C5. This is my favorite one, Knight E4. And even E6 is a move, I think. No, E6 is not a move. This is the best computer move, believe it or not, H6 right off the bat. Nobody plays H6, but that's the best computer move in response to the Trumpowski. What else? What other move have I prepped? I know I'm giving away my prep, but I don't think I move to it matters that much. All those are reasonable moves. For some reason, I think there's one more move I drilled. But we're not going to really get into that. The point is, Justin plays this one. And again, the reason why the G6 is so funny is this is exactly what Glenn played. And of all the moves, this is not really a main move according to the master database. So it's not a move I've really studied. I think I said in other videos, I'm trying to know my variations out to about 7 moves or so, and then just have a general idea, just playing chess. So after I played against Glenn, I wanted to brush up on what I'm supposed to do. And what I decided is... Trading is actually not the best computer move. It's like second best, but it simplifies it because a lot of positions I want to trade, and I basically want to play against this pawn structure, and that's kind of what I've educated myself on or improved. And the big difference is here I go E3. I think against Glenn I'd play like an early E4, and I was too aggressive with bishop C4, and that's incorrect. You want to be able to hit C4 and then cake back with the bishop. So I learned all of this, sort of studied it. Another note. Jeez, I know a lot of notes sort of as a preamble. On the way to the game, I was running a little bit late. On the tee, there was literally a fashion show going on. It was kind of nutty. I was like, what am I getting myself into? Which was actually kind of cool to witness. But then when I got to the chess club, myself and a few other people were locked out. The door had been closed. Apparently there had been some shootings, I guess, in Rhode Island. It's pretty sad. So I guess there's heightened security. So we were locked out. We were outside for 5 minutes, and so we got in. The games had started, and I actually lost 3 minutes on my clock. Now, again, 3 minutes is nothing, but it's the first time I've been late to a game. In fairness, I wasn't late. I was locked out of the chess club, but this is all a little bit of background. Justin moves incredibly fast in the opening, so he had a little bit of time advantage, but in the middle game, it kind of evened out, and then towards the end, Justin was down below, 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and I had 30 minutes on my clock. So time really wasn't an issue for me. And I think it started to be a little bit for Justin. So that's kind of the sequence of the clock control, the clock battle. I don't think I'm going to weigh in on that too much. Anyway, I drilled E3. I know this is all pretty good. And now Justin plays D5. You can actually play an immediate C4. I do know this. But I thought I'd play a little bit slower. In this setup, I'm going to be castling normally. A lot of setups for the Trumpowski, you play aggressively and you do queenside. Not here. So I have a lot of moves. I can basically move my knight. I can do an immediate C4. I can develop my knight, this one, to B to D2. Not that this one can go to D2 right away, so I guess it's not B to D2, it's just knight D2. The whole idea is I don't want to play knight C3 because I do not want to block in my C-pawn. That's another thing I've kind of learned. I'm really playing for C4. So I thought, why not? Let's just do this immediately. I don't know if the move order there matters a lot, but I thought this was more accurate. Why did I think that? I don't know. I don't know. Justin plays C3. I think that master database, a lot of the Trumpowski stuff, the super grandmasters are all, they play C5. Kind of get it more like a Sicilian, just aggressive right away. I don't think this is a bad move for the record. It is just slightly more passive, which is fine. Sometimes passivity can be accurate and good. Sometimes it's not. I know my move options are C4 or just developing the knight to F3. Again, I'm at the spot where I'm learning some sequences where move orders matter, but I don't want to overdo it. I think at this point I got a drink, I set up my score sheet, I got the right pencil, I checked the pairings, I was kind of getting up, I just kept sitting down. I was still getting myself ready, so I didn't want to do anything too wild in the opening. So I was just trying to bang out the natural moves, kind of the typical setup for what I want. And once I get the structure of the Trumpowski, basically the whole concept is I'll give up the bishop, so he'll have the bishop pair, and he'll have double f pawns. And I know, according to the computer, that these kind of setups, white has like a plus 0.1, plus 0.2, like literally nothing. There's like no real advantage. Of course, white's never worse. But I'm kind of been playing a lot of these setups where I kind of know how to play against sort of the double knight pair, and then I try to like attack these pawns. For example, one idea I had throughout the game, and I'll kind of mention this, is like h4. Obviously, once I land c4 and getting my bishop on the light square bishop, I can really weigh in on this pin and really punish castling, things like that. So those are all kind of like the meta concepts. At this point, I'm just kind of doing my typical opening. I'm pretty sure these moves are fairly accurate. If they're slightly off, well, I guess the computer will tell me. Justin responds, knight d7. His light square bishop is a bad piece right now. For the record, he'll very quickly... All that noise again is little Simon. He is a animal. Literally, he's a cat. Yeah, when f5 is played, then this bishop is just bad. I'm playing against like the weak pieces. And that's like the whole concept. That's sort of the positional ideas of the Trompowsky. All right. Here I finally look at it. I've done the different, preparations, the opening, and I know that I'm going to eventually have to play c4, and this looks like as good a time as any. I play c4. Justin doesn't want to not take, because if I take, he immediately has a weakness, which would be the isolated queen pawn. And again, that would be pretty good for me, because I'd have easy play, like queen b3 ideas, which is another key idea in a lot of Trompowsky setups. So Justin doesn't surprise me, and I do think this is the best move. He just immediately captures. I take back with the bishop, which seems pretty obvious. I've now completed my development, mostly, enabling my castling. Justin has a little bit of an issue developing, whereas light square bishop, who knows where it's gonna go. He hasn't quite committed to finchetoing his dark square bishop or bringing it down. So I know, like, according to the computer, this is like, again, like plus 0.1, plus 0.1. There's nothing here. But practically speaking, and like visually, like aesthetically, if you will, this felt comfortable and feels pretty good for white. So I'm always surprised that white's not doing a bit better, because this like looks good to me. All right, I'm not really looking at like alternate lines. This is kind of like through my prep, for the most part. So I don't really want to waste too much time about different ideas, because honestly, I didn't really have other ideas. In fact, let's just get to where we're finally out of the opening. Justin plays knight b6, and this is the first time where I do a thing. All my other moves felt very natural, automatic, and quick. I don't think I was like blitzing them up. I was getting up, I was getting water. I was basically just preparing myself for the chess game ahead. But this is the first time where I knew I needed to really think, and the reason why is I know, like, I want to play on this long diagonal, the b3 f7 diagonal. The reason why is that means my light square bishop is a monster when, not if, but when Justin castles. The f pawn is a major weakness because it'll be pinned, so maybe I can then attack the g pawn. And however, I was thinking, do I draw back to b3? That's one idea. That's one candidate move. Another idea is ignoring it, just castling, letting him take the bishop pair, but having an active knight where he has weakened development, because I'd be already safe with castling. I thought that might have been okay. Another idea was queen to b3. He'd go trade, I would trade, and we would just play with the centralized queen. Again, I have a small lead in development, but he'd have the bishop pair. Or dropping back to d3 or e2. And I thought all those were reasonable moves. I even considered moving my rook to c1. A lot of times it wants to be on c1, grabbing the open file. And all these like seemed very normal. My instinct was to drop my bishop. However, I thought about it, and by the way, I think I made a small inaccuracy here. You'll see I kind of fix it on the next few moves. I seem to recall, and again, a lot of the Queen's Gambit, you don't want the bishop on this diagonal, but in the Trompowsky you do. And the big difference is without this e-pawn, the f-pawn is much weaker. So I played all the way back to e2. I should have played to b3, I think. That's my prediction. In fact, that's what I'm going to end up getting later in the game. Again, if you hear all the mewing, it is the little kittens. So that was my first big think. And again, when I say big think, it's not like I only thought for a minute here. I think I did spend a solid, because I think I got down to an hour and 18, and remember I missed the first 3 or 4 minutes because I was locked out of the club. Yeah, so I probably spent almost 10 minutes. And again, I was just trying to figure out exactly, my cat, exactly what I'm doing. Again, all those were candidate moves. And the reason why is I think, okay, the reason why, let me just, show my calculation, is I thought that if I played bishop to b3, he would respond with bishop to e6, forcing these pieces off. The truth is, in the Trabowski, a lot of times it's okay to trade these bishops. I didn't think I had a great move. Like, let's say I castle. If he takes, I take. Okay, maybe this is fine. He still has the weakened pawns, but because I don't have the light square bishop to really attack, basically lean on the pin, I wasn't really sure it was really that good. I thought he could, maybe not now because this pawn's hanging, but and if I traded in this spot, like rather than castle, like let's say I trade, he just undoes his weakness. And yes, his pawns are a little bit fluffy, a little bit stuffy. Ideally for total king harmony or safety, these would not be on the 6th rank, but maybe the 7th. But I thought that whatever I had achieved from sacrificing my bishop for the knight early, as far as doubling his pawns, I would just be undoubling it for him. So I didn't like that. So that's why, for the record, after those calculations, I thought it was too easy for him to... and again, it's not that this is a major weakness. This is what's constituted as a very minor weakness, the doubled f-pawns. I thought retreating my bishop to e2 kind of kept the tension and maintained the weaknesses, where in a certain spot, and you'll see what I do, when I can alleviate this piece, I can redeploy where I wouldn't be losing it right away. So that was at least my thinking. All right, Justin, pretty quickly after I play, what did I play? Bishop e2. Okay, I will say they are playing. It's a little bit annoying. They have a lot of energy. And kittens, by the way, for those of you wondering, are a little bit smelly. So that is the weakness. They are incredibly cute, but yeah, they don't know how to wash themselves as well. All right, in response, anyway, Justin plays bishop to d6. It's a centralizing move. I was actually a little bit surprised, to be honest, that he didn't fianchetto. I assumed when you play the early g6, you're always pretty much putting the bishop into g7. And when he played this, I did, not a double take, but I kind of did the 1-2 step, which was me saying, number one, oh, I think that's a bad move. And then saying, actually, I don't think I can take advantage of it, because I don't have a dark square bishop anymore. So even if he has weaknesses around his king with the dark squares, without having that defender, I didn't really know how to, attack that or make use of it without having that piece. Again, if I had a dark square bishop and I could put it on, c3, it becomes a monster. And that would be, awesome. But I don't. So at first, I went from thinking it was a bad move to then thinking it was actually probably a pretty good move. Basically, no longer wanting to, keep a fianchetto. He's also eyeing the h-pawn, which I thought in some lines could be annoying, especially if I castle into it, which I do, but it was another thing that I had to worry. So when he played this, I did are there going to be any gifts here? Not really. I mean, all my pieces are defending. He can't really. This pawn is blocking his queen as far as locating onto h4. So I said, all right, what am I going to do? I could make an improving move like rook c1 here. I was considering in this spot to play knight e4. The reason why is in a lot of lines, it keeps his queen glued to this pawn. But then I thought that maybe he could honestly just play f5 with tempo. And I thought best case, I basically would trade my knight for his bishop. Again, I wasn't sure if that was anything special. So I just shook my head and said, all right, I'd probably fine to just castle. I castled. Justin castled. Again, it's glaring that he doesn't have the dark square bishop here, but I also don't think it's a big deal. But it just thought, again, aesthetically, if you will, it was unpleasing to my eyes. I'm just trying to make improving moves. I know that the rook belongs on c1, so I put it on c1. It's the only half-open file. The state of the game is as follows. It's very Trumpowski-esque. We banged out 11 moves. A lot of them are theory. He's got the doubled f-pawns. It's a very minor weakness. I don't have a dark square bishop. It's a minor weakness. I've got the very typical 5 and 2. This is a very well-known pawn structure. I get these a lot, Queen QGD, a lot of my d4 openings. I'm blanking on the name of it. I think it starts with a K. It's not the Kasparov. It's named after some German town or something like that. Anyway, whatever it is, I get this pawn structure a lot. However, it's 5 and 2 against 4 and 3, where this pawn is here rather than here. So I did think that this was a very, very minor advantage for white. In response, Justin seems to want to take control. He plays f5. And when he played this move, all right. Again, at the board, I thought that he had a real issue now with his light square bishop, that it was kind of stuck and he wasn't really able to develop it, like had no scope. So I thought this was like another minor weakness that he's kind of self-flagellating. But I just wasn't really sure how I should take advantage of it. Like I thought in some lines I wanted to play like h4, h5, kind of soften this pawn. I wanted to redevelop the light square bishop onto this diagonal. Yeah, and so like those were kind of my ideas. I knew that I had to like make a coherent, cogent plan of action because we're out of the opening. I've developed my pieces. I'm slightly ahead the lead in development because again he has not developed his light square bishop and his queen is still here. I have a pretty easy idea. And I went through all my moves here. I can no longer play this knight to e4. It's taken away. I didn't think here f4 was a big threat because I thought I would just respond to e4 with the idea of having a very, very strong center. I didn't think a move like h3 was very good here, like the loof for the king. It does prevent any kind of like sacrifices there where, you know, he could basically sacrifice the dark square bishop. It went through my head briefly. Yeah, I think after a small thing, I thought of two different ideas. Basically, I wouldn't even say I got excited. I was like lukewarm about this, the ideas. But I thought that I did want to trade the knight, because if I move my knight to c4 and he takes, now I'm more free to play my bishop here. I then thought, as far as calculation here, I'm going to show you what I did first, because I think I made the better move. I play a4 in this position. But I thought that if, okay, hear me out. This was my calculation. Knight c4. I'm attacking the dark square bishop. We've been kind of been here before. I'm attacking the knight. I was worried he could play knight d5. It seems like a really strong placement. And yes, I could like trade here, but I thought this was nothing for me. You know, I thought that I had nothing here. Yeah. So I was worried about that. I also thought if he does take and I take, then he basically moves his bishop here, and we're in a very similar position where we get. But I didn't think this was as good. The reason why is what I saw is I thought if I trade, he takes, it's kind of soft. But I saw this line of b3, and the reason why I thought this was really good is now if he takes, I would take with the pawn, and I'm threatening to play c5. And there I thought that I would be positionally much, much better because I'd have an incredibly strong pawn chain. I'd have clear play where I could line up and gang up on the b7 pawn. And I thought white would just be better. And if he doesn't trade, if we got to get in this position, then his bishop is truly, truly bad. And I'd have all the time in the world of relocating my pieces. However, in order, again, to avoid the move that I was worried about, which was this move, knight d5, I thought it was more accurate to play a4, because if he lets me smush in a5, he then has to backtrack or backpedal over here, and that enables me to basically play my pieces where I want them, which again is getting the bishop out here, untethered. However, when I play a4, Justin immediately plays a5. I kind of thought this would happen, and I wasn't that worried because I thought my queen was watching my pawn. Eventually, I'm going to play b3, so there's no way of him really ganging up on it. And I thought that there are also possibly some ideas, again, if I can somehow kick the knight, of getting the battery that I want. If my queen is here, basically being able to attack the f7 pawn and the b7 pawn, I thought that I would have all the play in the world, you know, and a lot of time to do my stuff. So that's why I kind of played in that move order. Anyway, doesn't happen. He plays a5. Which I didn't think was necessarily forced, but I wanted to play a5 myself. I wasn't able to. And here, Justin plays, excuse me, it's my move after a5. I just go ahead with the same move of knight c4. The thinking is, obviously, he can still play knight d5. I thought it was probably pretty decent. But I would go, well, I would trade, and again, I would get the same situation, which is trying to load up the queen, trying to spike or at least attack two pawns at once. And that was kind of what I foresaw, the macro plan. I didn't really see anything better. This is hardly like a winning plan. This is hardly anything big. But I just thought the position was honestly a little bit dry, and I just had the very slightest of edges here. Anyway, not to my surprise. I thought this move knight to d5 was stronger. But Justin just takes. I was pretty happy when he takes. I briefly considered rook takes. I thought then he would just play bishop here, and I would just like go back or something. But I don't do that. I just take back with the bishop. On time, we're like pretty even at this point. I don't think there's much going on. Again, the whole time I thought he was going to play bishop e6, and I was going to just respond with b3. But that's not what happens. Instead, just as a habit of playing moves I don't expect, he plays queen e7, and I don't think this is like a bad move. I think it's fine. In a lot of the situations or calculations I'd made, I had pictured my queen on b3. For example, when if he played bishop e6, I then found the better move of b3. But I did see kind of like this setup. Which would be, if I trade, he takes with the e-pawn, and then I'm able to land queen b3. I thought this was kind of powerful because I'm obviously bearing down the b7 pawn, which is a very important one for his position, because if that one falls, the c pawn falls. And I'm attacking this e-pawn, which is a permanent weakness, as his king is pinned. I then thought that this would force either the queen to d7 or e7, and he would be holding everything, but my goal would basically be getting up on the e-pawn. What I saw, for the record, is I was going to play h4 with the idea of slamming a knight onto g5 to just load up on the e-pawn. I thought that's where like my advantage was coming from. But Justin plays e7 first. It's kind of the inverted move order, and honestly, maybe it's a better move. I'm kind of curious what the computer says. I do know, again, through 20 moves, Justin and I played at like a super grandmaster level, so this was probably the better move, to be honest. So, kudos. I didn't see it in that order. And this is where, at this point, move 14, he plays queen e7. I start thinking, all right, I don't think I have anything for myself. Oh, shit, does he have a move? And I got very worried about f4 because I thought if he is, like, launching this f-pawn and he's able to trade the f-pawn for the e-pawn, then he's better. So I thought I had to stop that, and the way I saw to stop it was to play rook e1. The thinking here, here, I'll just show what he played. He played bishop e6. He finally plays bishop e6 here. Is now basically if he played f4, I would just take. And I thought that he couldn't play it because, obviously bearing down on his queen. And then when he moves his queen, I could just lock up the position with g3. And I thought that I'd be better here. So I did think that rook e1 stopped f4, and I did think f4 was a big threat. I thought I needed to stop it. All right, Justin plays e6. I actually blitzed this move out because based on all the calculations earlier, I did see that I could play queen b3, and I don't think that was bad. But instead, I played b3. I played it immediately, again, thinking that if he trades and I take, I'm going to get this great pawn structure. I'm going to have all the play where I can load up on the b file. I will shut down his bish, and he'll still have this weakness. But of course, he doesn't trade. Maybe he should just honestly develop his rooks into the middle of the board. Instead, he shocks me by playing bishop d5. And this, by the way, after this move, you'll see, is like within a move or two is where we did in the analysis, where I guess Justin put it on his phone. I'm gonna make my case, and then eventually we're gonna see what the engine has to say. The machine. So in this position, I really thought about my options. I said, could I, do I have to trade? And I thought if I didn't trade, like, again, I want to play h4 and knight to g5. But if I play h4 here, he literally just takes my knight with his bishop, and then he gobbles my pawn. And although I don't think I'm losing, like maybe I play g3, I would just be worse, and he would be better, and it would be a very unfun... excuse me. Very unfun position to play. So I thought I pretty much had to trade. I also thought maybe I could move my knight, but I didn't really see where it was going. And I thought if I traded and he takes, then all right, he's got an isolated pawn. And yeah, this is what we, not argued. We friendlily, disagreed on who's better, or at least on by what extent. Anyway, I end up trading my bishop. He takes with the pawn, of course. He does have that isolated pawn. And I play queen d3, which made sense, centralizing. If I could ever land queen to b5 to attack b7, a5, and d5, then I would just be winning. And yeah, and this is the position that we looked at the computer. That almost never happens in post-game analysis. By the way, Simon, little cat who's 6 months old, is chewing on a cardboard box, just to let you all know. That's what cats do. So the reason why I thought, and again, it's not like I thought white was much better, but practically speaking, I thought white, like I had real play here, is because looking at this position, my queen is centralized, number one. Number two, he's got this isolated pawn on d5, and it's a light square pawn, so his bishop can never defend it. And number three, he does still have the doubled f pawns, which are a weakness, whereas my pawn chain, my structure, is more sound. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm drawing all these random arrows. My pawns on my queen side are on the light squares. He doesn't really have a clear way of attacking. And the only really thing, he doesn't have a clear way of making a wooden shield either. I was saying that if his pawn was on d6, and he can put, again, if I don't have a pawn here, and he can put like a bishop on like c5 or e5, where it'd be a wooden shield, then I would think his position was better. But it's not. So I thought that white was better. Now, again, we looked at this position apparently is like even. Again, it's really surprising because I don't think black has anything. Like, how is white not slightly better here? I really don't know. But I think Justin saw my ideas. He's playing defense, and he plays queen d7. It's a good move. Obviously, I want to land queen to b5 if I ever can do that. His position is in a lot of trouble, but he's not going to make it easy on me. So it's kind of back to the drawing board, and I have to say, oh damn, like how can I make progress? I want to be able to jump to e5, but if I do, he just trades, I take, and now I'm the one with double pawns as well, and like that's just like dead even. So I was like, damn, that sucks. I decided to play rook c2 with the idea maybe of doubling. The truth is doubling isn't even that good because he always has these potential ideas. And by the way, there are a few positions ago where like I can never put my queen on this file. If I ever do that, he does have the skewer. It's something that I was constantly aware of, that tactic. So I had to be very safe and careful about the d2 square. So actually, when I played c2, I was actually considering playing rook e2 first, thinking I could bring it over. And if he played bishop a3 here, then I actually would play rook c1 to c2, thinking that I'm still kind of controlling the file. Because that's another... when I made the case for why white was better, I also thought I kind of have control of the c file. The truth is I don't really control it, but it's kind of in flux. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking. Anyway, I play rook c2. Again, the move felt normal and fine. Justin plays rook a to c8. He's contesting the file. And the truth is, I play rook e to c1, thinking I am going to just load up on this, load them up. And now here's where Justin plays bishop a3. I got scared for a moment, thinking that if I take, which is what I did play, one of my calculations was take, wondering if he has this in-between move of bishop takes c1, thinking that if I take, he would be up like a piece. But it doesn't work. If I take the rook and he takes my rook, I would just come back and take his bishop. So for whatever reason, that was something that literally for like a minute, I was like, oh my god, am I losing when I took the rook? And I was like, okay, no, I'm not. This is totally fine. So I took the rook. He takes the rook with his rook. And yeah, we get this position. And obviously, I could trade another rook. He would then own the file. I thought that would be good for him. So I played what seemed like the sensible move. I played rook c2 with the idea if he trades, I then move my queen. Hold on 1 second. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Alright, well, they're zooming around. I heard, like, silverware. I just did dishes, so I heard silverware kind of clanging around, the sink. Alright. The thinking here is if he's the one that trades and I take with my queen, technically I'm owning the file. Again, maybe I have some pull. But if you look at my opponent, Justin's doing a very good job of controlling the file. I can't move in on, I can't infiltrate on c4. I can't infiltrate on c5. I can't infiltrate on c6. I can't infiltrate on c7. Obviously, I can't infiltrate on c8. So he really does have everything guarded. The big advantage is I want to play my knight to e5. And basically, if I can land knight to e5, then it becomes a really good knight against not a very good bishop. And I thought that I had an advantage. So a lot of this game is kind of a dry position where I thought that I was kind of like a kindling of a fire, slowly burning it, trying to light it, just trying to kind of make ashes to ashes, something like that. Anyway, in this position, Justin plays bishop to d6. Justin's really good at shutting down ideas. He did this the first time we played. I remember having a very dry position. He just kept like stopping all my ideas until I made a blunder. And the idea here is now I can't move my bishop. And I got excited though, because I said, oh, he might be making a mistake. Because if I can ever wiggle on in queen to b5, I'm winning. So I said, all right, if I take and he takes, well, it doesn't work there because I just back rank problems. And I said, all right, what if I make some luft for my king? Then I can trade. And once I trade, because he has to take back with his queen, then I can land my move. And again, with my queen on b5, white's better. So I, continuing to play on. I said, this is great. All right, I have a small advantage. Let's go g3. By the way, I played g3 specifically because I thought that there were some lines where maybe it would get kind of iffy if he ever had like certain sacrifice, especially if I'm targeting the d5 pawn with my knight. So I thought that it was more accurate to just play up and get luft that way. By the way, in this position back here, I did a lengthy thought here because let's see, move 19 when I played rook c2, I started my score sheet because this is the only time I did like a deep thought here. So there you go. This is why we had that discussion about is white better here, and I thought I was, but again the computer will say this is like basically even. I thought I needed to attack this pawn with this knight, and I calculated how to do that. And I looked at it, and I actually considered some funky king moves, because I saw in this position, in order to attack this pawn, I need to get the knight to c3. I can't get it to f4, because then, boom, he just takes it with the bishop. So in order to get to c3, I had to do some monkey math, and I saw I could go knight to d2, and then from d2, I could play to b1, and then from b1, I can play to c3. And I know it's like very long thinking, but and of course, if I can ever then maybe get the knight to b5, that's another good outpost. Again, threatening to bring it into c7, then I thought I was better as well. So that was like the long-term knight jumps I was thinking as far as how to attack this pawn that's on a light square with a knight. And that's really the only way I saw, to be honest, because I thought every other way I could do it, and that's why I was concerned about these bishop to b4 ideas if I played it there. And I think that's why I end up moving the rooks first, because I thought in order to do that, I couldn't allow him to pin the knight, because then I would basically move the rook, and then he would just be able to trade the bishop for the knight. And then when I trade back, the position is totally dry. Then there's nothing in it. Again, I really wanted to make use of the fact that this was a light square pawn and he had a dark square bishop. So that was my thought process, for the record, as far as the knight move. So all this is trying to orchestrate my knight in such a way where I can attack the pawn and then bring another piece into the action and just basically win a pawn by force. So I thought if that fell, I probably would be winning this game. All right, I play g3. The idea here is I want to go trade, and then slam queen to b5. Of course, Justin doesn't allow that. When I play g3, he plays rook e7. No, he doesn't. He plays rook c7. Okay, my C's and my E's sometimes look like. And I thought this was a really high-class move because, if you guys can tell, now if I trade, he doesn't have to take with the queen. He can just take with the bishop. And if he takes with the bishop, well, he's preventing me from getting my queen to c5. So I thought, oh shit, back to the drawing board. We need to continue to think how to do this. And I said, all right, I can still maybe slam my knight on c3. I don't want to get it pinned, or if I played it there, and then he plays like queen to c8, I actually would be losing. I'd be in a lot of trouble. So I thought that I could position my king safely, then reroute my knight, then trade rooks, then land the knight to c3. So I thought long term, that's how I could maybe win this game, or at least be better. So I set about doing that. I then wanted to make the improving moves first. I go king to g2. I'm just trying to basically dodge any back rank shenanigans. I thought I had all the time in the world, to be honest. Because another big thing about white is for the life of me, I don't see how black can ever be better here. How the hell does black make progress? I thought I could make progress. I was working my way towards that. But I thought that he has no active plan. I mean, look at it. He can move his bishop back and forth, right? Like, that's it. Maybe the computer will tell me I'm wrong, but I didn't see it. You know what I mean? I didn't see it in the over the board at least, so I thought I had all the time in the world. Justin plays f6, which I think makes sense. He's trying to like free up his bishop so that this knight no longer has certain jumps, because in like this position, maybe I can jump to g5. I did look at these. I just didn't think I was ever going anywhere there, so I kind of ruled it out, to be honest. But maybe it kind of tamps down the ideas like the h4, knight g5 ideas that I did have. I don't think it's a bad move at all. It makes sense. Yeah, I start my plan. I go knight d2. My idea is knight d2 to b1, trade rooks, and then land my knight to c3, trying to attack this the light square pawn. That's simple. If I had to trade, take, I'd be up a pawn. Was that winning? I don't know. But it certainly wouldn't be any worse. That was my plan. That was it. That was the deep thoughts. That was all I was really thinking on. I was kind of beelining for that. Justin plays bishop b4, and I realize now that my plan doesn't really work that well. Because here's why. For the record, I just go back. And I'll talk about going back in a moment. I thought that if I actually play here, he can trade, and then when I trade, this bishop actually dominates my knight. I can never stick it on c3 because then he pins me, and I'm losing a piece. And if I play it just back out to d2, he can just trade, and then he can again take the file. And although I don't think I'm any worse, well, actually, there I'd win a pawn, so maybe take the file on c7. I just didn't think I could be any better either. He could then move his king in, and it would be equal. If not, maybe a little bit worse. So I then saw that's why this didn't quite work in that position. So I moved back, and Justin asked me at the game, like, was I ever considering just taking a draw or offering a draw? And I told him no for almost all of it, except here. If Justin in this position went back, let's see, where I moved 26. If he went back to d6, again, preventing the idea of trade, so he's still watching over the b5 square, I was going to repeat the position. I was going to repeat at least once more, maybe 3 times. Again, depending on how I felt, vaccine stuff kicking in, I was going to maybe make a draw. So this was the only time this game. Before that, I thought I had enough play. I thought I was slightly better, even though the computer says I'm not, or at least throughout this, we'll double check. But I thought I was better. And then after this, I thought I was better because I think he makes a bad move here. But this was the only time that I was going to repeat the position. And I was just going to say to myself, all right, like, it would be nice to win. If I beat Justin, good chance of winning the section. But sometimes you just don't have anything. I just didn't see, beyond that plan. I would have used some time and thought about it before I did it a third time. But I was going to repeat. Instead, Justin doesn't repeat. He maybe should have, to be honest. And instead, on move 26, he then plays rook takes rook. And I think this is a bad move. Now, it's not that bad, because when I take, it looks like I'm just owning the file. He can immediately play what he played. Hi, cat. He can immediately, oh, he's so soft. Hi, little girl. You will have murder mittens. I've been able to trim his nails. She is a little bit more wiry, I'll just say that much. Because he immediately plays queen c6. And the idea here is, if I take, he takes. Yes, they're on light squares, but now all of a sudden his isolated pawn is no longer isolated. It's no longer a weakness. So maybe I'm not the one controlling the file. I wondered if he was able to get in, like wiggle on in action. But I thought that wasn't a concern. Basically, if I move up, which is what happens, I move to queen to d3. The reason why is, again, I just wasn't worried about him infiltrating, because I thought that if Justin moved to queen c1, I would have this move, queen b5, attacking both the b pawn as well as the d pawn. The d pawn with check, for the record. That I would have a lot of activity, and whether or not that would be winning or not, I'm not sure, but again, I would have all the play in the world, and it would be too slow for him to like move his bishop and then his queen up. Besides which, I could always just trade the knight there. And if my queen is active on b5, yet again, I'd be kind of like up like the tempo as far as taking his pawns while still defending my my one weakness in that position. So that's kind of what I calculated from that spot. So I thought that, again, maybe, oh maybe, if I can ever swing this b5 idea, I'd be winning. Right. not that there's much going on here. Justin, to no surprise, does king f7. He's just trying to like centralize his king, move it on in, and here's where I have to make quite the play. I calculate. I say, how can I attack this pawn? Well, it doesn't seem like I can bring my knight to c3 anymore. What about bringing it to f4? And I see a reroute of basically going knight to g1, to e2, to f4. If I can land f4, then I'd be attacking the d5 pawn. Maybe I'd be better. If he ever pushes g5, I thought as well that maybe I would just have h4. If he takes, he would basically have doubled pawns on both the h file and the f file. His pawns would be really weak. It would also mean that maybe I could actually move on in and take on f5 with my queen. So I wasn't worried about that. Yeah, I also have this reroute. Either one works, to be honest. I actually was going to go to e2 to f4. So that's what I do. I play knight g1. I thought this was a pretty sound idea. I'm not really concerned about him coming in because, again, if he gives up that key b5 square, I thought that, again, maybe I'd be winning. And here Justin kind of blitzes out a move, and I think that this is a big, big blunder, to be honest. I actually don't know what he needs to do. Maybe he needs to move his king up and just kind of grip the center with his king. So what if I land my knight there? If his king is sitting in the middle of the board, I don't think it matters much. Instead, Justin plays queen to c3. And, queen to c3, it makes sense. If I take and he takes, like, game is pretty equal, like, whatever. I don't think that his bishop really is a threat, can't really do anything. But maybe he walks his king in somehow. I mean, I'm literally defending all the entryway squares, but who knows? Instead, I calculate, I see this, I spend another 10 minutes. It's my only other think of the game, really. And I realize if I take and he takes, I am now moving with force, with tempo. When I go to e2, which is my plan to get to f4 all along, I'd be attacking his bishop. He would move back. I'd be able to land on f4. His king can't move in to e6. I'm free spiking the d-pawn. And whether or not that was winning or not, I'm not sure, but it certainly looked great to me. So that's exactly what happens. I go queen takes. He goes bishop takes. I play knight to e2. He backs up, I think. Let me double check the score sheet now. He goes bishop b4. Yep. And I land knight f4. And at this point, I think we both had played pretty well up to this point, to be honest. I think this is just a miscalculation of the queen trade, where I now get an endgame that I'm curious if computer says it's just easily winning and I stressed out, or if it's just barely winning and I played a really solid technique. I don't know. But he just cannot come in, so I'm just winning a pawn, And it's a very important pawn, because this d-pawn has free range, just become a queen. Yeah, so kind of positionally, definitely this is my bread and butter, what can I say? All right, in response, Justin plays bishop to d6. Doesn't do anything, but he kind of has to move it back. I think for all of 3 seconds, and I say, all right, I'm just taking the pawn. Like, this looks free. Free to me. Free to me! Let there be free. I don't know. Justin moves king to e6. If I move back, he can just trade, and I think this is fine. I think I'm still probably winning in that endgame. But I thought that it would be easier. I could just reroute. I saw one such line of going to b6 to c4. Which one did I play, actually? I went knight takes on d5, which I did, and then I went b6. Oh, I did do that line. Or I saw going to c3 and then rerouting to b5. I didn't know which was better. They both look good to me. I thought it was better if... actually, I just didn't know which was better. I saw both reroutes work totally fine. I wasn't sure where my knight belonged, to be honest. I kind of flipped a coin, to be honest. I play knight b6 with the idea of getting it on the solid fortress, moving my king in, and just kind of like pushing my pawn up the board. So, which is kind of what happened. Justin plays bishop c7, kind of attacking it temporarily. I immediately go knight c4. And this is great. I have long-term pressure on the a5 pawn. It kind of ties down his bishop. I have control of some of these center pawns, and I'm going to just move my king in. Yeah, at this point, Justin uses a lot of time. He kind of burns through his clock because he's just down a clear pawn, and he probably has just a losing endgame. It's not a fun spot to be in, I can say with experience. Nonetheless, he plays king d5, just centralizing the king. I think I made a misplay here because I have to correct it. I played king f3, thinking I want to stop him from playing king e4. The truth is, king e4 is not a big deal. I actually am going to move my king to e2 because I want to be able to play f3 again, just kind of get the pawns rolling. Yeah, he plays g5. I think to myself, is this a threat? Him playing g4. I didn't know, but I play h3, thinking I'm stopping it. If he plays takes, that looked very winning to me. If he played there, I go takes. It's winning for me as well. That this just seemed to lock everything down. This buys me time to basically move my king. I want to have my king on d3. I want to then play f3, and I want to play e4, and I want to just push my connected pawns down the board. Seemed kind of simple. Yeah, like a pretty clear play. Justin plays h5. He's got to latch out. Now I realize I kind of need my pawn to be pushed up a bit, so I play king e2. I figured if I allow... What I calculated... By the way, this is important because Justin thought for a long time and then like touched his king and then moved his hand off his king. It was weird, actually. And he plays back to c6. Maybe it's the best move. But what I calculated, what I'd spent some time, is I thought if he blockades on e4, I was going to play f3 with force. He was going to then play d5, and I was going to then move my king, I think. In this line, he could take my pawn, and I calculated taking his pawn. And I calculated this, where this pawn on b7 is weak. Maybe he would attack it. I would come back, again, attacking it again. He would maybe move back. And I thought that maybe this was dangerous. I'm not sure. But I'm threatening to just play e4 check. If he takes, I check again. I'm taking him. He has to move back. I'm assuming he would move back this way. This is kind of what I saw. And I thought that this was good for me. But I was a little bit worried about him being able to play g4 and like maybe not being back in time. We said after the game that... that like he should have gone into something like this for some counterplay, basically pushing the kingside pawns. And so I do think that king c6 was a mistake. I think he should have gone king e4 and gone into a variation like this. Because this is what I saw, for the record. And I'm not sure that this is winning. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe something like this. I don't know. Like I saw something like this, and I was. I thought this pawn might be really fast. What I told him is I saw that he could make the passed pawn here, something like this, and I knew I'd be in time, but I thought that maybe this would allow him time to, gobble some of these pawns and maybe turn the loss into a draw. That's at least what I thought. However, Justin does make it a little bit easier on me. He plays king to c6, and as soon as that happens, I can go to d3. I'm now owning these squares, and it's just kind of a simple process of moving back. I think Justin realizes his mistake. He moves to d5, but it's unfortunately too little too late. I play knight to d2. My thinking here is I'm just trying to push e4. Now if I push and he takes, I just take with the knight. All of his pawns are kind of being attacked. I'm getting ready to just continue to push my pawn up the board. He stops that momentarily. Bishop to b6. Now if I take, he would then actually win my d-pawn. So I thought I couldn't allow that. So what I saw is I just simply play f3 here. Now I'm threatening e4, where I don't have to take with the knight, where I can take with the pawn, which is with check. And then when he moves back, I would then be able to slam d5. And with the two connected pawns, that was very, very easily winning. So that's what I saw. Justin plays king e6. I play f4 here. I think I was just trying to lock up... Oh, because I got a little bit worried from those variations where he had the fast pawns. And I thought that this kind of locked everything up. For the record, he plays... What did he play? I played f4. He played g takes f4. But I thought that if he did something like this, then I would just simply play h4. And I thought locking it up here meant that these pawns are stuck, and I would then be able to play something like e4, d5, and that I'd be winning here. So that's what I saw. But nonetheless, Justin, did we make a mistake here? Play f3. He plays king e6. I had to play f4. Shoot. What the hell? Maybe I stopped writing moves here? It says f takes e4. I must have played e4 rather than f4 here. I must have, yeah. Oh, damn. I don't know why I wrote down f4. I must have played e4 here. Because he then took, yeah, this sounds right. Okay, he then plays f takes on e4. I took with a knight. Yeah, and the reason why is once I take with the knight, he plays bishop a7. Yeah, it's because I saw, actually in this position, I calculated this, just d5 off the bat, takes, like move back, takes, and I just have the 3-on-1 with the king be able to move in. So I calculated this. I thought that I could actually play d5 here. I thought that was kind of clever. It's kind of giving myself, you know, patting myself on the back. But instead, although I thought that was winning and I wanted to play d5, instead when he plays bishop a7, I just play g4. And I thought now here in this position I'm locking everything up. And I know that I no longer have the d5 because once he takes the g-pawn to the h-pawn, my knight wouldn't also be attacking his h-pawn. Yeah, so nonetheless, with g4, he then plays h takes. I then play h takes. He plays b6. I'm pretty sure he's like lost here though. I play king c4. With it thinking I'm just going to shepherd the pawn on up. Justin plays bishop b8. I play king b5. The idea of attacking the pawn. If he moves again to king to d5, I would just take his other pawn and then take this pawn. All the pawns would fall. He plays bishop c7. This allows me to move king c6, wiggle on in there. He retreats to d8. I play d5 check. Again, I'm just trying to queen. Justin plays king e4. King e5, excuse me. And I play king to d7. I've trapped his bishop, and he's going to lose it. He'll win back a pawn, or either of these pawns, but it doesn't matter. I'll just be up the piece, and I'm winning his other pawns, so there's not really much he can do about it. And I'm also fast to kind of get back. So Justin resigns the game in this position. I messed up a little bit on the score sheet, so I'm going to look over that. Let's very quickly do the analysis. Yeah, let's start at the beginning. Yeah, so that was the game. Very happy I got the win. I thought, oh man, my arm is really starting to hurt. Both arms, actually. I got one in my right arm, one in my left arm. Yeah, I thought that we were playing kind of a dry game. It was very, very balanced, very even. I thought I kind of maintained what I thought was leaning on the advantages I thought I had in the position. Justin played a pretty inaccurate move. I think I took advantage of it, and I felt like I converted the endgame. I'm kind of curious what the computer says. Again, we're in book so far, so sometimes I slow up here just so that I can let everything kind of catch up, because I still haven't built my new computer. It's been 2 full months. Just a lot has been happening. A lot has been happening, man. What can I say? Yeah, so I knew c4 was the right move here, which is the book move. So I don't play the right move here. I needed to just play c4 immediately. Whoops. All right, well, no big deal. c6, okay. So, all right, black apparently is better here. Good to know. Knight g to f3. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's an excellent move. Okay, cool. Apparently black is slightly better. Computers are funny. Doesn't feel like I'm any worse, but okay. A3 is the move. Nope, C4 is the move. Okay, cool. I play the best move. Best move. He plays... His best move is to play bishop e7. Interesting. Or just taking. Taking is fine. Which is what he does. Yeah, I thought this was the best move. Made sense. I take back with the bishop. Best move. Cool. All right, so we're... This is where we were kind of out of the opening. Let's see. We're on move 8. And it's funny. Yeah, once he plays knight b6. So black is actually slightly better here. I guess the computer really values that bishop more than the knight by quite a lot. Fascinating, of course. I don't know. Just like an even position. And I draw back to bishop e2. Computer thinks it's... Okay, it is excellent. All right, cool. I waste a lot of time on those moves here. Looks like bishop e3 or e2 are both the best moves. So I didn't really, 0.05 difference or so, 0.06. All right, I'm pretty happy with my move then. Cool. One thing I didn't mention without the computer, but one reason I moved it here is I thought there were some lines where I'd want to actually get my queen to d3, so I didn't want to block my queen from doing that. Thinking like if he delays castling, I might have some checks on e4. So that was actually going through my mind at this point. All right, he plays bishop to g6. Excellent move. Again, we play like a near perfect game through like 20 moves, so not much to say. Castling is best. Castle, cool. Best move. Castling is best move for him as well. All these moves are pretty good. All these moves are pretty equal. Castles, can't really fault him for that. Excellent. Okay. Well, I mean, again, we played very, very, very well. Rook c1. Not c. Oh no, rook c1's up there. Knight e4. This was an idea I had, trading off the bishop or kind of threatening the f pawn. Maybe I should commit it to that. I did see that in game, but I thought this was just like simple ideas. Getting the pieces into position where I want them. He plays f5. It's a good move as well. One of the best moves. f5, can't argue with that. Excellent move. Again, we played a pretty good game. a4, computer likes a4. They also like e1. The two moves that I play. Okay, cool. a4 was played. Excellent. Excellent. a5 is the best response. Justin finds it. Yeah, not surprising. I don't think that's a hard move to find, but good job. Knight c4 is the best move. Computer likes my move. Again, I thought this was kind of obvious. Okay, interesting. Trading is the best move. No, knight d5 is the move I was concerned about, and it's also zeros. Maybe not. Let me see here. So he trades, which is zeros. I was more concerned about knight d5. I thought this was good. I only get to good. Because the computer just wants me to trade knight for bishop, and then he'd go queen takes, and I thought that was fine for him, but whatever. Computer says this is better for black. Okay, okay, whatever. I take with a bishop. Makes sense. White it's completely equal game. Damn, we are playing well. Queen e7 is the best move. Justin's playing very well. Queen e7 is best move. Move 15, rook e1. Not one of the best moves. Really? I thought it made sense to get the rook on the queen, prevent him from playing f4. They're saying to play like queen d3. It's a move I considered. It centralizes the queen, or queen c2. Either one. Just trying to activate and develop, I guess, the last piece. Yeah, all right. I guess that's fine. It's not like rook e1. Okay, this still gets an excellent. Yeah, I guess a bad move. It's fine. All right. As you guys can tell, a little bit tired. It is what it is. 16. Bishop e6. So this was maybe Justin's first, not great move. It's still a good move, apparently. In this position, to maintain a small advantage, he should be playing rook to b8. I actually thought that with the idea of, b5s, just trying to open up to play for something, against the weak b pawn. I actually was thinking that that was his best move. Yeah, because I'm never really attacking this A pawn, because again, if I ever attack with my queen, whoopsie, he then has the skewer. So I did actually see that. He plays bishop e6, though. Do they like b3? Nope. They do. They like queen to d3 best. Alright, well, I was so proud of this move. It's not like it's a bad move either. It's totally good, but it's not the best move. Okay, you know. Okay. Yeah, trading is really bad for him. If he was to trade... Well, I was right about that. That trading is bad for him. That if we got this set up... White is still not even that much better. 0.3. I thought positionally I was in great shape here. But that didn't happen. Instead, he just plays d5, which is also a bad move. Okay, yeah, so he needed to... Looks like, according to the computer, he needed to play... He needed to just back up with his bishop. Just basically say, you know, like, whatever, I'm not really doing anything with it. It's going to be just a weak piece. It's a hard move to play, actually, after you've just moved it here with the idea of, like, hoping to trade it off. Okay, you know what? No, Justin, look at what the computer says. We said after this position, where I take, I said I thought I was plus 0.5 in this position. Like, in this position here. And then he takes with the bishop, and then I centralize the queen. This is the position. Okay. Plus 0.3 is nothing, really. But white is slightly better. That is what I'm going to say. So when we arrived at this situation, 18 moves in or so, by the way, again, we're both playing very, very well. I thought that I had play. Practically speaking, again, I had referenced in the beginning of the video, I have the file, he's got the double pawns, he's got this weak pawn, it's isolated, it's not in the right color, and I have ideas with, like, you know, rooks. Okay, it's nothing special, but white is slightly better. That's all I was saying. I thought that, you know, life is good. No complaints out of me, you know. All right, you know, this is the spot. This is literally what I starred on my, yeah, that's a great move, taking away queen b5. This is what I starred. And yeah, so here I play rook c2, which is still, I guess, one of the best moves. Okay, and I wondered if I should just start moving my my knight here. Cool. I did wonder if h4 was better here, because that was the other move I was considering in this spot. But it looks like I played the right move, guys. I don't know. Looks like queen to d2 is a bad move. Oh, wait. I was showing why that doesn't work because of the skewer. I was going to say, I'm like, I don't think I was considering playing that here. And then rook e2 in this spot is also really good as far as rather than c2. Yeah, both would have been fine. I think that would have been more accurate to play the rook e2, by the way. That's what I wanted to play. He plays rook ac8. Okay, it's a good move. They like ec1, which, believe it or not, best move. It's what I play. Okay. Maybe I played a good game, guys. Maybe I played a good game. It's possible. I'm feeling like I did. I'm feeling like maybe I played a good game. Bishop a3, forcing the rooks off. Although, funny enough, this does not force the rooks off. Slightly more accurate move is basically checking the queen first. Getting that knight, that horsey to e5. I should have strongly considered that, actually. But, I mean, taking is also basically the same. White has a very small advantage. That's it. Very small advantage. Oh, they like... Interesting. Rook c3. Why c3? I thought that he would just be able to play... Bishop. What the heck? Why c3? I thought if I played rook c3 here, he could just play bishop b4. What am I missing? And then the computer wants me to just take, and then you play g3 in this position. All right, so this is like very, very drawish, very, very even, very, very similar to what we got in the game anyway. All right, I play rook c2 here, which is still an excellent move. Okay. Yeah, drops back, bishop to d6. Well done, Justin. They still like h3 better. I told you why I played g3, trying to take away like the different checks and stuff. But is g3 a bad move here? Nah, it's just total zeros. All right. So what can I say? We played a very balanced game. Rook c7 was a good move. I thought this was a really good move. For the record, they're saying for him to just take right off the rip. and take, because I'm not really controlling the file. In retrospect, it makes sense. I get my king safe, or at least I thought. Okay. I'm really curious about the endgame, by the way. F6. Weakening move here. Still a good enough move. They want me to trade, and then he would take with the bishop, of course, and then I can take on c2. What? Wait. What? If I took here, he would take with the bishop, and then they like queen c3 with the idea that I'm hitting the pawn. Because if he plays queen to... And then they're saying just to move back, queen d3, which is kind of what happened in the game. Kind of rerouting like this. And white has a very thin advantage. Okay, there's really nothing special here. He plays bishop b4. Okay, I play best move. I play back. Yeah, as I was saying, this is the position where if we repeated, if he played bishop to d6 here, I was just going to repeat. White apparently is plus 0.2, but I really didn't see it. I really didn't know how to push forward. This was the only spot in the game that I was basically pretty happy with just making the draw. And instead, he trades rooks. I take back with the queen. He now plays queen c6. They like me not trading my queens. Well, trading queens is fine. I moved to d3. Did they like that? Yeah. One of the best places for the queen. Okie dokie. That's excellent. Nicely done, Babo. Justin centralizes his king. Can't argue with that. Oh, I got a message. I didn't. It was just an announcement. Someone streaming on Twitch. They like knight h4. Honestly, I don't see it. e6. King to g1. Moving back. Okay. Well, whatever. Instead here, I'm playing knight to g1. Is this a bad move? Bad move? No, it's still fine. Still a good move. He needs to just go back and forth. Hard to play those moves, and this is a losing move, and that's the blunder. Cool. All right. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, that was we played a hell of a game, and then Justin blunders, and this is this is an easy thing to blunder because it looks like you're trading queens and the threat is diffused, but that is not the case. I find it. I do the calculation. He takes. I go through with my plan. Knight e2. Bishop b4. f4. Knight f4. I did see all this. I'm really happy with myself. I did see all this. He draws back. Bishop d6. I take the pawn. And it's just a 2 plus 2.6, 2 plus 2.7 endgame. Yeah, very, very easy to win. Thankfully, I did win it. I mean, let's see how I played it. Now I'm very, very curious. King e6. They like the c3 line. Oh, so they do like that slightly better. No, they're all good. Even the f4. I wondered if f4 was good and just trading them off. I didn't know if that was better to just basically trade off all the last minor piece and be up the clear pawn. All these moves are pretty equal. I spent a little bit of time, and I ended up playing the slightly weakest one, but they're all good, of course. Again, the reroute to c4. Justin plays bishop b4. Nope, he does not. Plays bishop c7, slightly more. Still a good move. And then I land on c4, which made sense to me. Justin is playing the best move here to d5. Man, I have a feeling my actually is going to be through the roof this game. This may have been the best game I've played yet of Classical. Because it looks like I fucking hit a home run. Because honestly, looking at this, it looks like Justin played really well too. He just made that one crucial blunder, and literally that was the game. Bummer. But maybe I messed up the end game. I mean, we're still going through it, right? Maybe I did. They love this. Moving my king in. It made sense. Centralizing. G5 is a great move. Yeah, they like the immediate plan of going to E2. I play H3 first, which is actually not that good. It's about a pawn worse. That's actually significantly worse. I guess it's my first bad move of the game. 37 moves in. Alright, I'll take it. Okay, I should have just immediately gone king e2. I get it. Basically, I shouldn't care about this. I'm actually creating a weakness for myself because I'm letting him play h5. Alright, so this was maybe not super accurate. I do realize my mistake. I realize that this is not a big threat if he gets his king into e4. I do play king e2. And he should go g4 here. And I thought if he goes g4, I would go h4, and everything would be linked together. It would be okay. He plays king c6, which is still fine. Well, when I say fine move, yeah, because if he played king to e4, this is where all my moves come with tempo. So I saw f3 check. I'm just double checking like basically calculations I made at this point. You have to go to d5, only move. And then they say g4 is the best move here. I saw king to d3, which is the second best move. Okay, because this opens the door for him taking with the bishop, which would be his best play. Yep. And then I saw taking, of course, his pawn, with my knight. I definitely sound tired at this point, don't I? Well, it's because I'm tired. And b6, I saw. Great. All this was done without the computer, guys. This is all the stuff I did think about over the board. And they like e4 here rather than knight c4. Okay, this is still just totally winning. I was a little bit worried about this, wondering if this was like good for me, bad for me, whatever it was. And it looks like this is totally fine. All right, but instead, Justin moves king to c6, which funny enough is still like fine. I mean, everything is kind of like losing here. But it looks like I should move. Okay, I play the best move. King d3 is the best move. Makes sense. I'm just trying to centralize. I mean, isn't that tough to find. He plays the best move, moving the king back. They like knight a3. I didn't see that. Well, knight d2 is basically just as good. It makes sense. Trying to reroute the knight. I go to d2. He plays bishop b6. They like going back to c4. No, f3 is just as good. I play f3. Cool. Cool. All right. Then I go king then he goes king e6. And now that I'm able to land e4, it's over. I did play e4. I did not play f4. That was the typo. So I did play the best move, e4. He then takes back. And yeah, at this point, this game is just... Oh, they didn't like that. That's interesting. I should have taken with the f-pawn. Taking with the knight is close, is fine too. Everything is winning though. He draws back. I did see this. I wondered if d5 was correct. It's not. But that's not what happened anyway. I played... Didn't I do this? I didn't play that. Where are we? After bishop, yeah, move 42. After, I mean, again, the game's over here, but after bishop a7, I played g4, so it's this line. Oh, they still like this. Yeah, this makes sense. Okay, cool. He played h takes. They like f takes a little bit better. Don't think it matters. Play h take. All right, slightly less accurate. b6, and this is just over. I can waltz in Matilda, get my king in. They like it best. Cool. All right. He plays b6. They like king b5. That's exactly what I do. I mean, walking the king in seems pretty straightforward. King c6. Yeah, these are just best moves. All right, cool. Well, what can I say? d5 is best move. He goes e5, and I go king d7, and he resigns in a +7 position. All right, cool. Wow, I feel like I played a fucking hell of a game. All right, unfortunately, I don't think Yeah, still, I don't know. All right, what I'm going to do is just to check out... Whoopsies. Oh, god damn it. I'm going to input the moves really, really quickly, just so we can, see how the accuracy... I feel like, let's see, we're at an hour 20-ish. This game will only go another 5 minutes. That's how long it'll take me to input all these moves, or at least let's fucking hope so. But looks like I played really well. I was due for one of these. Sometimes the hero plays well. Justin, thanks for the game, of course. GG. We talked about like next tournament and stuff. Obviously, playing next week. The big one is the Boston Congress that's coming up. Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's gonna be a big one. I'm gonna choose my section next week. And I'll register at that point. So, yeah, I'll keep the updates coming, 97. Otherwise, sometimes I'm allowed to play well. I feel like, studied this opening and kind of paid off, to be honest, I guess that's all that really needs to be said about that. Sometimes, good things happen. It looks like I didn't play all the best moves, obviously. I mean, I'm not going to ever. But I played a lot of best moves, so that's cool. Castles, rook c1, f5, a4, a5, knight c4, knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, queen e7, rook e1, bishop e6, b3, bishop d5, bishop takes on d5, c takes on d5, queen d3, centralizing, queen d7, preventing me from getting on in, bummer. What happened here? 19, rook c2. Yeah, this is where I should have gone rook e2, actually. But, not a big deal. Rook ac8. Rook ec1. Bishop a3. Trade. Trade. Rook c2. Bishop d6. G3. Rook c7. Good move. King g2. Good move. F6. Slight inaccuracy. Knight to d2. Bishop e4. Knight g3. This is where I was ready to just move back and forth. It is what it is. From the knight d2 to knight f3. He plays rook takes. Mistake. I play queen takes. Queen c6. I do not want to trade that for him. I go queen d3. He centralizes. King f7. Then I go knight g1. This is where he makes the blunder. Queen c3. I capitalize immediately. Queen takes. Bishop takes. Knight e2. Bishop b4. Knight f4. Bishop d6. Knight takes. And I'm just winning. Cool. What a game, guys. I mean, hopefully it wasn't like terribly boring for you guys, but I'm really happy with it. I'm just curious what the overall percentage is going to be, because I think this certainly looks like the best game I've played yet of classical chess. Maybe I'm getting better. We can certainly hope. Knight c4. King d5. King f3. g5. Boom. h3. h5. King e2. King c6. King d3. King d5. Knight d2. Bishop D3. What? Bishop B6, excuse me. Bishop B6, F3. King E6. Okay, this is where I wrote it wrong, right? I wrote F4 when I really meant E4. Let me fix that on my score sheet. So that's where I made the mistake of writing. By the way, this is another game where we didn't have the coordinates, and I did way better. I only made a couple of transcription errors, so cool. You know, seeing the board without coordinates a little bit, you know. That's cool. E4. With E4 played, F takes E4, Knight takes E4, and yeah, Bishop A7, G4, locking everything up, H takes, B6, King C4, walking my king in. Bishop E8, King B5, Bishop C7, King C6, attack, 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 Bishop D8, D5 check, King E4, or King E5, all right, some errors, and then King D2, King D7, dropping it. All right, and this is where he resigned. Cool. All right, so let us save this now. White player. That's me. Justin Guerra. I don't know what his rating is right now, but all right, let's do the all-important review. And wow. Wow. That's a 95.4% accuracy game. That's, I'm going to be honest, that's the best game I've played yet of classical. Hey, you know, sometimes you got to give yourself credit. I played a hell of a game. So, yeah, all right. I feel really proud of myself because the truth is Justin played very well as well. 90% is great. I just played really well. All right. That's all, folks. An hour and a half. Sorry for kind of a tame game taking so long, but it took me a while to enter stuff in. If you look at the standings, I'm now 2.5 points, clearly winning. I think this is my tournament to win. Let's certainly hope so. Next week, I have a matchup against Nathan Jones. We played one game where I was black as well, and I drew. I think he's pretty good. I should be favored, but we'll see by how much. All right. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.